Hi everyone, so this is a book called Little People, Big Dreams, and it's about a lovely lady called Ada Lovelace. Nice big picture over there. So let's give this a read, and let's find out a little bit more about Ada Lovelace. Ada Lovelace was born in England to a mother who loved maths and a father who loved poetry. Ada's father left England when she was very little and never returned. Her mother was away a lot too. So young Ada spent a lot of time at her grandparents' house. A cat called Mrs. Puff kept her company. Left alone, Ada's imagination took flight. She started to dream of machines with wings that could move in any direction. Look, there's one she's dreamt up. When Ada's mother came to visit, she didn't like her imaginary inventions. She wanted her to concentrate on maths and logic and nothing else. Look, she looks a bit worried. Got her maths books ready. Looks like a really cool flying machine though, doesn't it? Luckily, Ada liked numbers and was very good at solving mathematical problems. Are you good at maths? Got all that maths work she's been doing. When she was 14, Ada became sick. She had to spend a lot of time resting in bed, but she kept studying, inventing and dreaming. You can see all her workbooks around her as well still. After 3 long years, Ada got better. Can you imagine being poorly for 3 years? She went to London and she was introduced to a famous mathematician called Charles Babbage. I like what you can see people thinking on this. These guys are thinking about maths. The bird's thinking about singing a song. And the cat's thinking about eating the bird. Mr. Babbage told Ada that he was building a machine that could add together sums, called a calculator. Look at the size of it. It's huge, isn't it? The calculator could do sums so quickly that it was like magic. Most people couldn't understand how it worked, but Ada was fascinated. Ada thought she could use maths to make the calculator do even more amazing things. Look at her mind working away here, guys. She is using her brain power. She wrote a code made up of numbers that would tell the calculator what to do. Looking hard here. Still, Mrs. Puff still looked after her as well. Ada didn't know it, but she just invented the language that computers use today. Little Ada, who loved both numbers and poetry, had become the world's first computer programmer. She showed that when you use science and imaginations, your dreams can take flight. So, if you didn't realise, Ada Lovelace is a real person. So she was born in 1815 and she died in 1852. These are some paintings of her. Let's give this a read. Let's find out a little bit more about her. So, Augusta Ada Byron was born in London in 1815. Her mother, Lady Byron, was a talented mathematician who loved logic. Her father, Lord Byron, was a famous poet who left his family when Ada was only 5 weeks old. Young Ada and her mother moved to her grandparents' house in the country. Her mother was often away, so she was looked after by her grandmother or governess. Lady Byron was worried Ada would inherit her father's mad love for poetry, so she encouraged her to learn mathematics. This was unusual for a girl at that time, and especially unusual because Ada was from a noble family. Aged 12, Ada started to dream of flying machines. She studied the way birds flew and wrote down her thoughts in a book called Flyology. But when she was 14, Ada became sick with measles and had to spend a long time resting in bed. She recovered by age 17 and went to London. It's a long time to be poorly, guys, isn't it? There she was introduced to Charles Babbage, a famous mathematician and inventor. He was building a large calculator called a difference engine. Ada was fascinated and asked Babbage to show how the machine worked. Ada and Babbage became friends and worked on plans for a new machine. In 1840, Ada wrote a new code that would tell the machine what to do. She believed anything could be turned into numbers and programmed into a machine. With this idea, Ada had become the world's first computer programmer. Her work led her to the invention of the very first computer over 100 years later. So without Ada Lovelace and people like Charles Babbage doing all this maths work and building the difference engine over 100 years ago, we wouldn't have what we recognise as a computer today. Okay, so very important lady, quite amazing as well. So yeah, that's a bit of a story about Ada Lovelace. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.